All right. So this series is for the basics, the nuts and bolts of the concepts and exercises that we covered last season during our OBE intensive. So this will be the first of several videos that are short and that just go over um, critical principles and exercises. What we're doing here with the dream work and the out-of-body exploration is really that we're developing flexibility in consciousness. So if we look at consciousness as a spectrum, we're almost completely oriented towards the waking state and the physical senses. So our visual perceptions, um, auditory perceptions, the activities that we need to do in the day, most of our attention is just oriented towards the body and in the waking state. So what we're learning to do with these exercises and these meditations is really expand our capacity for awareness into these other states. So the one state that we mentioned during the last class was focus 10. So focus 10 is mind awake, body asleep. If you've ever experienced hypnagogia, which is hallucinatory images, very vivid images as you're falling asleep, this is all focus 10 territory. You're moving out of the waking state into the dreaming or the sleeping state. If you've ever heard yourself snoring, this is focus 10, right? So the idea is to learn to be aware in these other consciousness states that are not just the waking state. That's really what we're developing. So when you begin to become aware outside of just the waking state, you begin to experience reality very differently. So, for example, in the dreamscape, the physical laws of gravity are not existent there, things like this. So, generally, unless we're born with some psychic ability or some natural talent, we may not have lucid dreaming as an innate capacity. It's something that we have to develop. So, lucid dreaming is being awake in the dream state. So, an out of body experience is being awake in a deeper state of consciousness. At some point, the line, at least for me at this stage of my understanding, the line between lucid dreaming and OBE gets really unclear uh, as these reality systems or as these experiential planes become less and less physical or what we're used to in the physical. So you don't have to worry too much about the distinction at the present time between lucid dreaming and OBE. I think it's at the later stages irrelevant. But the main difference is that there is this separation of the astral body when you're having an out of body experience, and there's this whole vibrational state that occurs with that, and I'll explain that in the next video. By using focus 10, you'll be able to enter this mind awake, body asleep state. And that may be something completely new for you. Maybe you've never been awake or been aware at this borderline state of consciousness between being awake and being asleep. So this is one of the first things to get familiar with and begin to explore. You don't have to master focus 10. You don't have to be able to enter it at any time, but it is useful to begin to explore this particular state of consciousness. When you use the HemiSync tools, it drives your brain into focus 10. So it's not something that you actually have to try to make happen. You just relax and see what happens. In my opinion, the best times to use focus 10 are during naps and in the early morning, which is related to a critical concept that we're going to get into right now. It's called wake back to bed. So most of your lucid dreams will happen during naps or in the early morning. Most of your lucid dreams and your out-of-body experiences. When you sleep for 4 or 5 hours, you then interrupt your sleep cycle. You wake up and you meditate for about 20 minutes. You read about lucid dreaming. You try to stay awake for between 30 and 45 minutes, and then you go back to sleep. So you're going straight back into REM sleep. And this is, I'm telling you, I cannot emphasize this further. This is the golden ticket, the magic bullet for out-of-body experiences and lucid dreams. It's just, there's nothing better, really. I've had a few hundred OBEs and lucid dreams, and only 2 in my whole life happened at the start of the night. Only 2. So you don't need to waste your time trying to do this as you fall asleep at the beginning of the night. Generally doesn't work. I mean, maybe you're incredible and you can do it, but most likely you're gonna have to do wake back to bed. So you sleep for 4 or 5 hours, 4.5, 4.5, 5. You wake up, meditate, read about lucid dreaming or OBE, open up the Journeys trilogy, and just be intentional about going into the dreamscape or becoming lucid. And in the next video, I'll be explaining reality checks, which will also help with this triggering of lucidity. All right, tune into the next one.